Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of our International Month on DTLW podcast. And today we are speaking with Her Excellency Dr. Rosalia Arteaga Serrano. Dr. Arteaga Serrano is the first woman president and vice president of Ecuador. She is also a member of the board of advisors for the Global Chamber of Business Leaders and has this 14 published books. I don't know how you do it, Doctor, but I'm so happy that you are with us today and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Enrique. I'm so happy to be with you in this podcast and ready to talk a little bit about some experiences and probably some inputs and ideas. Thank you for inviting me for this podcast.
No, it's my honor to have you and thank you for joining us. And folks, today we will be speaking about women in leadership. Now, if there's anything that I'm passionate about, is the diversity of leadership and women being one of those. I've learned the most. I'll tell you this right now from my women leaders throughout my life. And before we get into that conversation, Dr. Arteaga Serrano, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, there's a lot. I was born in a city, not in the capital, but in the south part of Ecuador. Ecuador is an Andean country, but also an Amazonic country, and we have also coast to the Pacific Ocean, and we have also Galapagos Island. Then it's a very diverse country, and also there's a lot of diversity of people that we live here. Well, I study there in my own city, school, high school, and university, and then I had a master's degree in Brazil, and I had the opportunity also to get involved in politics. But before that, I used to be a teacher, a high school teacher. I started when I was 17 years old. And at the same time, I started to write for a newspaper. I don't know why or how they accepted me to be a writer at the editorial page in the most important newspaper in my own city. I started also to write some books, some poetry and poetic prose. And after that, after a while, I get involved in politics. I was a councilwoman in my city. After I was under Secretary of Culture of the country, and I get to be the first female Minister of Education, Culture, and Sports, then Vice President and President. Now I forget political field. I'm not more involved in political issues, and I'm more on the academic area with UNIR University, but also working a lot with different initiatives. For example, I was part of the editorial board of Encyclopedia Britannica that has the headquarters in Chicago. And I had the big honor also to be a member of the board of trustee of the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. And I'm involved in a lot of interest, and also environmental issues are on my field. I had the opportunity to serve as the General Secretary of the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization. And I'm a mom. I had 3 kids and also 7 grandkids, and I'm very proud of them.
What a wonderful background. I was listening to you when you mentioned, I don't know how I got into that newspaper. And after that whole trajectory, those things were just made for you. And there are a lot of children, right, in our communities, whether it's in the United States or it's in Ecuador or it's in Spain or it's in Cameroon, wherever those children reside, they're wondering what their future is going to look like. And I'm sure that when you was a child, you never thought, oh, I'm going to be the president of
Never,
our country.
never, Enrique, never. Because you remember that every time the adults ask the kids, what are you going to be? What do you wish to be when you grow up? And at that time, when I was in my school years, I used to say, I will be an author. I want to be a writer, because I was, since the beginning, since I have memory, I was a big reader. I read and read a lot. Then, of course, I wanted to be an author. And I never imagined to be involved in politics. I never imagined that I will be traveling most of my time around the world and be involved in lots of initiatives. My perception was that I could be in my own city, maybe forever, but it was not. But I think it's fantastic, the opportunities that life offers to me, and I take the opportunities and I fight for them also. I had not regrets about what happens with my life during all this time.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful life. As we can read about it, you have lived it. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think was the thing in your childhood that kind of pushed you towards all of this adventure and achieving all these different positions in life?
Well, when I was a kid, it was not mentioned ever that a woman can achieve a lot of goals. It was not even mentioned. I remember when I finished high school, my grandfather says, "Now, for sure, now you have a degree, you finish your high school, now you go and learn how to cook because you probably will get married." And I say, "No way, I'm going to study law." And he was teasing me all the time. But in my times, it was not an idea even to be in politics for women. But I think and I was very lucky because I had fantastic parents, especially my father. He's a doctor because he's still alive. He's in his 90. And he was the one that all the time was saying to me, "You can be whatever you want." And when I remember my mom says, "Come and do things at home," and my father says, "Let her, because she's good student, good on literary issues. Let her to do what she wants." And I never feel in my own home that I could be stopped by someone. It was really very, very important. But the other thing is that I learned a lot from books, not only from school, but I read about everything. I was very curious, and I think this amount of knowledge that I get in my first years in school and high school, they are with me forever. Because when you know something, it's your patrimony more than any physical or monetary things that you can achieve or you can have. Then being in this city, the third city of Ecuador, Cuenca is very special also. And I think the environment was good for me because I was surrounded by family, lots of family, and they were all reading and talking about lots of things when we have lunch or when we visit the grandparents at the country house and things like that. Then I was very lucky. And my school, I think it was good to provide me a lot of tools because they provide the opportunity to participate in some contest with other students of other schools and high schools. And it was really an opportunity maybe to train you to speak in public and to do things.
I love that. I love the fact that you had that in your home. Yeah, and for those listening, uh, you could potentially have the president of your country sitting in your house. And if you don't allow them to explore the things that are coming from within them, what you could do is you can rob the world from another head of state. And so I love that you share that. God bless your father. Still alive at 90. That's wonderful. But for taking the time to invest and recognize, right? And I wish a lot of parents would recognize the potential of their children in their homes because it really does matter. And then the environment, right? You were surrounded by people and things that would encourage you. And so what a beautiful thing to have in a life. I wanted to ask you, what mindset because a child and then a youth, and then you go in and you say, no, I'm going to law school. I'm going to study law. What mindset does it take to get to the office of a presidency of a
I
country?
can't. It could be a long story, but I was all the time moved by a passion for education. When I finished the high school, the rector of the school of the high school, she called me, and I was a little scary about what she wanted to say to me because I was in the week before the graduation, and I said maybe I do something bad wrong, but it was not. She called me and said, sit down. I want to propose you to be teacher here. And I was 17. And I said, my God, it's crazy. Probably I cannot be a teacher because teacher is an old person and things like that. But I accepted like a challenge. And I never get stopped to continuous working on education. Even if when I was in the position to be in the most powerful position of my country, I was thinking on education and values. I remember when I had to take the decision with my family, husband and kids, to move from the city of Cuenca to the capital of Ecuador. I was thinking, well, it could be for a year, but finally we stayed all here in the capital, and sometimes I moved to live in Brazil and things like that. But I think for me, it's very important when I assume the idea that I could do something for my country, could do something for the people. And I know for sure that education is the big, like, elevator, social elevator, that you can find the best one. And when you talk about environmental issues, for example, you have to go to education and environment. When you have to talk about health problems, you have to talk about education, and things go on when you have very clear the idea that you have to educate the people for this world and the future world that we are going to have. Then it moves to me the possibility to do more things for my people through education. And that's the reason that I accepted to be a candidate, to participate, and to be on the positions.
I love that. Don't ever back down, folks, from a challenge, but especially the fact that you bring up education. I am a meteorologist and oceanographer by trade. And so I know the value there is in getting educated and then getting exposed to the levels. And I love that you said it is an elevator, and it really truly is. I have been in circles and in meetings and environments that a young Puerto Rican kid from the mountains of Puerto Rico would never be. And it has all been through education. And I totally agree with that and your assessment in that. Education is available, but not everybody has the accessibility. And I know that's something that you're working on, bringing that type of accessibility to everyone. But what are some things that women can do today to get them ready for greatness?
Yeah, well, about education, I have to add another word. It says quality education because it's not all education, but quality of education. And it has to be a lot with training teachers. That's one of the things that I'm doing here with Fidel Foundation and also with University and other tasks and other institutions where I work for. Then quality of education. And the other thing is that persons that want to be in politics, they have to know that it's necessary to be prepared because if it's not like that, the country could be a disaster. Like it happens a lot in countries like ours, Latin American countries. Then you have to be prepared. You have to be a lot to do a lot with ethics, with values, values and ethics are not old-fashioned. They are now new fashion to be on ethics and to practice the values, to be responsible, to fight against corruption. It is so important to be clear about what do you want to achieve with in a political field, because it doesn't has to be with a selfish idea. Okay, I get, I am in the position, I won an election. Yeah, because it's so fragile, so futile. And but if you think about the main goals that you can achieve when you have the power, or you have the possibility, you must think that you are a person that want to help the others, to want to do things for the others. That's something that you have to be very clear about when you decided to go into the political arena.
I agree. Greatness, folks, will require some things from you that if you're not ready for, it could be detrimental, not only to you, and based on your position at the time, could be detrimental to others. And so I totally agree. You must be prepared, and that you do that every day, right? You do that every day. Your habits are on a daily basis is what will allow you to understand if you're ready or not. Now, there's a lot and could be a lot of young ladies, young girls listening to this podcast, having the first female president of Ecuador, and they're listening. And so, what could they do today about their future?
I think, especially women, we have to be very conscious about our power, to be very conscious about what we can do for the others. Because I think it is very important to work in our self-esteem. Many times we feel that we cannot, that the others can do, that the men can do, but not us. It's like breaking the crystal ceiling. It is so important to have self-confidence, and also to work on networks, because men are very good for networks, especially in business area, and also in political arena. But we had the possibility to create big networks, not only with women, because I'm absolutely sure that we have to work together, men and women, all the society. And also the other thing is to be very persistent, because many times you feel, oh, I fail, I cannot do that. The other people can say everything. Now we have these social networks that are very cruel, especially with women in politics. And you can be like feeling that nothing is working on, but it's not true. You can go on, continue, uh, believe in yourself, continue preparing yourself, and also feeling that you can do for the others a lot. Then this persistency, be resilient, be all the time preparing yourself and believing in yourself is so important.
I agree that that belief system truly starts in you. And I go back to your initial comment about your father and his vote of confidence in you. Sometimes we lack that confidence. Sometimes we can't see the vision for ourselves. And there's this person that just says you can do it.
Yeah,
You can do it.
and Enrique, I was very fortunate, because when I was not only a child, but even when I grow up, I have the four grandparents, both from the side of my father, both from the side of my mom. And because I was the first one, the first sister in my family, I have another brother and two other sisters, and I was the first one. And I had the opportunity to talk a lot with them, and also with a lot of uncles and aunties, and talk. And I learned a lot about life talking with them. Then I had this opportunity that probably other people doesn't have, because I was very lucky. I I not only had contact with my grandparents, but also with my grandmother, double, and it was fantastic because she taught me a lot about family issues in the past, about the rural environment where she grew up. And I think one thing that we are losing in this nowadays in this very complicated and fast society is the possibility to talk with the elderly people. Because many times in the families, people go very fast, don't have breakfast together, don't have lunch together. And then when they have dinner, they are with a cell phone. All the members of the family, they don't have the possibility to talk. You don't know how the others are feeling, how the others are thinking. Then I value a lot the possibility to talk. And in Latin America, we still have these big families, not only the parents and the kids, but also the grandparents and also the cousins and others. Take the opportunity to talk, not only by cell phone, not only by social networks, but physically take the opportunity to talk. For me, it was probably one of the greatest experience and a big school for me to learn a lot from the past because I said sometimes because we have a school for leaders in my NGO, and we have every year like 60 students, and we teach them a lot about what's happening in the world, what's happening in Ecuador, how to do projects and everything. But I talk with them and I say the possibility to have this richness, to grow up and to feel how this your surrounder is, it is it is a big benefit for you, for yourself, for how you can grow up, how you can increase and make it a strong personality if you have all this. And probably many people, they are not so lucky than me, but you always have some other people and older people, people that had more experience. Talk with them, and you, the elder, take the opportunity to talk to you, the younger. It is very important. And well, I feel that nowadays we are losing a lot these contacts, these close contacts, because of the complicated life that we are living. But even in this very fast going world, we can do something to improve and to make it better, the personal and family relationships. And of course, it's very important to have friends. In all my life, I had good friends, and I appreciate a lot the possibility to have the advice, to talk with them. Not, it doesn't matter the age, but you can talk with your friends and get some information and get some support, and sometimes only to feel that the others are close to you.
Yeah, I so agree with that. I too was a benefactor of having my great grandparents, and I spoke to them, and they used to tell me about the 1920s when they used to sell
Yes.
cows for this and that. And I also have my grandparents, and so I do agree that that investment in family really does put us in a position for greatness. And talking about greatness, there are a lot of women that are in leadership right now. And you just mentioned a school you have for leaders, but
Yeah.
these women are striving, right? They are trying to make it to the next rung, to the next step. So what advice would you give them to continue on that road to success?
I want to tell what's happening in Ecuador. In Ecuador, people that is going, that is being candidate for be president and vice president, they have to be men and women or women and men. Then in the next future, we all the time are going to have or a vice president or a president of the republic being a female. And it's very important. And I think we are very going forward with this possibility that opened the law in Ecuador, the constitutional law and the law of the political parties that says, and it's a obligation to have a binomio of men and women, women and men, what I can say to the woman, to the female that want to be in politics, as I said before, to believe in yourself, to be persistent, not to be like down with the failure. We can fail many times, but at the end, you can win what we want. Have the vision of the future to preserve the world, and also to be very aware that the society need us, need women. We probably see what's happening in the whole world, and sometimes we are very sad because we think that it's a disaster with wars, with situations, poverty, corruption, now climate issues that are coming, like climate change and things like that. Then we must work together, and the possibility of women to be in a high position, I think is better than ever, and we have to take the possibility, work for it, but also be conscious that all the eyes are going to see us, and we have to behave in the better world, in the better way.
I agreed. Now, you are involved with many different things. GCBL is one that we're both involved with.
Mhm.
So, what do you have coming up that people may want to know? And how can they get a hold of you if they wanted to have you speak with them?
Well, yes, we are mates in this organization, the Global Chamber of Business Leader, and I think it's a great opportunity to increase the network, knowing a lot of people from different parts of the world. Probably without this chamber, we will never met and talk like now we are doing. And I feel that all these organizations are doing a good job working and putting people together, and maybe putting people to have joint ventures to create a business for people of our countries and to create opportunities. I'm absolutely sure that this global chamber of business leader that is led by our friend Dijan is going to have really a lot of success. I think already has a lot of success because we are knowing people from different areas, not only different countries of different parts of the world, but different areas, different careers, different points of view. And it's so rich for all of us to have all these inputs. Then I strongly believe that also the possibilities that we have now with the advances in science and technology, especially in communications, brings us all the opportunity. When we see what happens with the vaccine in COVID-19, we said it's amazing because the teams were in different parts of the world, and they were together developing the vaccines, and they almost arrive at the same time in the different parts of the world. And also, when you see the list of Nobel laureates every year that the Nobel Academy in Sweden is giving the prizes, you see that in the past it was a man, usually a man, not woman, a man that won the prize. But now they are teams, two, three, four people that are working together in the same creation, in the same research, and it is a team. Then the possibility to work together like that offers, and especially during COVID and after COVID, because we learned a lot about platforms, about how to get connected. I'm not afraid of artificial intelligence. I think it's going to be a big tool for us to develop more the world. And I think, and I'm a great supporter of what people can do with research, with imagination, with ethics, because science and ethics has to go hand by hand if we want to have our sustainable world. But probably the problems are going to be solved. The problems that nowadays we have, and that's a word of hope that I want to give to the new generations, that we have all these tools that in the past we didn't have, and then the tools has to be use it for the good, for good, not for bad, because science is an instrument, and the instrument can be used for good or for bad. Let's use these tools for good. That's my requirement to the new generations.
Absolutely. Now, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, what platform do you prefer that they reach out at?
Well, usually I use Zoom for this communication, for homeworks for our students, and we use a lot Moodle, but sometimes we use other like Google Meets and others. There are lots of platforms, and of course, all the time we work with WhatsApp. That's very fast, and you can be communicated, but yeah, there are several tools, but now I'm trying to be familiar with GPT, the chat also, because you can have some help for different tasks that you have in a very good way, and I stimulate people to use the tools. Not all the time, because as I told you before, I totally support the physical contact, the dialogues in person with the people that is so rich that we cannot lose it, because we have to preserve our human, the human possibility to be in touch with others, to feel with the other people, that it cannot be provided by artificial intelligence.
I agree. And Dr. Arteaga is also on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We'll make sure that all those links are provided so that you can reach out to her. And folks, this has been such a blessing. Thank you so much for taking this time to celebrate with me the International Month of July. And folks, today's episode is sponsored by Fantail Services and Superpass, which are powering our website and app, Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee. And if you've enjoyed this episode and learned something interesting about the topic covered today, make sure to subscribe and let us know by leaving a comment right now. And we're always looking for new ideas and guests that we can add to our show. So if you have someone that you would like on the show or have a topic that you would like for me to feature on the podcast, please do so by letting me know at triadleadershipsolutions@gmail.com. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode where we dissect leadership from another angle. And as we like to end the show, success to you.
Thank you very much, Enrique, and see you. I hope soon we can meet in person. Thank you, and have a good day and great month.